And welcome to this week's edition of Revved Up. It's in a very unusual surroundings, but mainly because we are trying to get you the biggest car show in the region. We have a very, very big car on the show this week that we shall be telling you all about. Maybe some national importance again. Yes, coming your way. We have a very big celebrity who will be showing us his car, explaining to us why he drives that very car. And make sure you stick with us because we have some good tips for you and also the best in bonds. Just to let you in on what kind of cars you can buy, whether it's your first, your third, your fifth, or your 10th car. We always help you here on Revved Up. I'm Andrew Kabuura. Welcome aboard. This is Revved Up.
On this edition of Revved Up, Car Care, brought to you by Shell Helix. It's always best to spend a little time checking up on your car so that you don't have to spend a lot of time fixing it. Before you set off on your next journey, here are a few things to look out for. Check your car's oil, that it's at the proper level and that it doesn't need to be changed. Take a look at your brake and steering fluid and make sure they're filled up to the markers labeled full or max. Make sure your coolant is at the appropriate level and keep your washer fluid topped up. Give your tires a quick inspection to ensure that the treads aren't worn out, that there are no tears or bulges, and that you have a suitable amount of pressure. Test your brake lights and headlights and make sure there are no bulbs that are broken and need changing. Now, you're ready to be on your way with the peace of mind that only a safe and healthy vehicle can bring.
All right, so on this week's Celebrity Rides, first of all, forgive me for keeping my shades on because the sun is quite out, so I'll try and keep my shades on. On this week's Celebrity Rides, we catch up with a gentleman who pretty much has been at every event in town. He either has attended them or he's pretty much organized them or he's promoted those very events, mainly the clubs and some of the high-end corporate events in town. We catch up with a man who so loves events that he has formed his own company, also under events, Flames Events. Gareth Onyango, ladies and gentlemen. Gareth, come this side.
Hey man.
What up?
Good, how are you doing?
Good.
All right.
Thank you very much for coming on us.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
You're one of the more rare guys. I don't think I've ever seen Gareth during the day, by the way. I've not seen Gareth during the day.
That's a lie.
I always meet him at day. But thank you very much for coming through. Let us talk about your beautiful Mark II. I don't know why you love a Mark II. We have probably a discussion to come up. But let's start off with what you do, the whole events idea. I've had a very big opportunity to I've been so lucky to travel around the continent a little bit. You've traveled around as well. Our party scene, you've been so many of these clubs. Do you think, like the international media writes, we are the biggest party animals around?
I think it's very true. If you travel, of course, even if it's for a week, you'll definitely miss Uganda. Because our party scene is now one of the best party scenes. We have the best clubs in East Africa. If you ask me, we have the best bars and we have the best DJs as well. So, I mean, we have the best, of course, party scene, and of course, the entertainment industry has grown so much now. So,
going by your job, this is a Mark II, man. The grad, and everyone says it's more of a corporate car. It's more of you stay in Kayoola, work at worker's house, smooth roads and everything. It's a very hard car. Mark II has been known to be a very hard car. But what got you into this car is this car does not suit you, Gareth. It doesn't suit you.
Well, you can call it a corporate car, but as you can look at it, I try to flip the rims, I change the rims, I change the top just to give it a more funky look. And you can say it's a corporate car, it's comfortable, it's easy to manage, and of course maintaining it is quite easy. It doesn't consume a lot of fuel, so you can drive it daily.
And the car side, because let's talk about now your image. Your image as a celebrity, as a very big events organizer in the country. Does it fit within your image? Did you feel that's the kind of car you should roll with to a car park and guys are like, hey guys, there is Gareth, he's arrived?
I'm not the showy kind of person, so whatever gets me to a venue or where I'm supposed to be for a meeting is okay.
So
I didn't look at the car when I was getting it to show off or anything. Yeah.
Are you the kind of guy who goes for comfort over power, or it's power over comfort, or you'd rather have?
When I was younger, I would go for power. But right now, it's more of comfort because I don't drive fast anymore.
Because I drive a Subaru, and whoever meets me says, "You're still a young man. All you're looking for is power." Don't you think I have reason to feel insulted?
For starters, this car is very powerful.
Yeah, it's
If you look at the gears, it has a lot of gears, and it's very, very powerful.
So what would you advise a young child, at campus? We are shooting from, of course, the Nakawa Business Center, which means we're just a couple of minutes away from MUBS, the university. The students, what would you tell them if someone plans to find their
I
first
think
car?
if you're a student and you wanted to get a car, the car that I would recommend is probably a Vitz or a Premium.
Yeah.
Because the fuel consumption, 10,000 can get you to campus and back. If you lose a side mirror, it's very cheap to have back. The spare parts are quite affordable.
Gareth Onyango, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming through, man.
Thank you,
really
man.
appreciate, and I'm wishing Flames events all the best, man.
All the best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have you watched Revved Up? Are you an ardent fan of Revved Up?
I watch Revved Up every week.
Yeah.
It's one of my best shows on TV, only that it's so short.
I hope my
Make it
producer has
longer.
had that. I hope my producer has had that. Guys, thank you very much, man.
Thank you,
Really
Andy.
appreciate.
All right.
Hi.
It seems that the latest developments in flight and delivery technology have ushered in the brand new world of drones. You might have seen them being used as aerial cameras or simply as fun toys that can be operated via remote control. But with plans to use them as package delivery bots or army planes, why not use them for public transportation as well? Recently, a Chinese company revealed the Ehang 184, a concept model that weighs 440 pounds and has the capacity to carry a person up to 500 meters in the air and transport them to their desired location. Using Google Maps, they will be auto-piloted and will have a built-in system to avoid objects in their path. The cost of such a machine would be in the range of 130,000 to 200,000 pounds. But although it may be exciting, the possibility of actually flying in one of these crafts is still many years away due to flight regulations and safety concerns. Even still, it's nice to dream about a not too distant future where personal flying machines will be available to the common man.
All right, you can as well open your social media, a couple of tabs out there, and follow us on social media. On YouTube, we are on, of course, Revved Up Uganda. All our videos, everything you've watched on the show here on NTV does as well go on our social media. And then that aside, we have a Facebook page that is Revved Up Uganda, which is getting red hot recently. Red hot. Lots of comments and lots of reactions coming in from you guys. Give us your side of the story. And of course, after that, you can also suggest for what kind of cars you want us to have on Revved Up.
I'm the Secretary of the National Road Safety Council, which is a statutory body established by an Act of Parliament, the Traffic and Road Safety Act, 1998. And we are in charge of coordinating all road safety activities in the country, including Kampala, any other part of this country, even if it is Karamoja, Umbale, Kisoro, Arua, Gulu. We are in charge of coordinating the road safety activities in all those regions of the country.
Ronald, do you have any safety tips for the average motorist in Uganda?
The average Ugandan motorist, one of the things they would first know is the law. Most of them don't know the law. They don't know the regulations. They don't know that we have a highway code here. They should get access to that book, the Uganda Highway Code. We know the risk factors in road safety. Overspeeding or driving at an inappropriate speed. They really need to check their speed. Drink driving, drug driving. There's drinking alcohol, then there's using drugs, and then you drive. A lot of these drivers you see drink anyhow, and someone is taking an up-country trip at 9 a.m. in the morning and he starts drinking while on the way to Mbarara, on the way to Arua. That is really wrong. So please don't drink and drive. Don't overspeed. Drive at appropriate speeds. Then another tip I would give, especially for the drivers in Kampala and those that ply the highways, is we have to share the roads that we have. The infrastructure that we have is for all of us. This was our theme in December when we had the National Road Safety Week, and I still think it hasn't yet sunk in. People, motorists, think the road is theirs. The people in the VX Land Cruisers, in the Land Cruisers, in the Land Rovers, in the Range Rovers, in whichever vehicle, the vehicle owners tend to think the roads are theirs. But the roads, as a government, we construct them for every Ugandan. Even if it is a baby of 2 months, a baby of 1 day from hospital, that baby has a right to that road as much as you who is in a VX and has paid taxes for 60 years. So we have to agree to share the road. Then finally in Kampala here, and in the country, but Kampala specifically, we have a problem with border borders. Border borders, they are something that we have kind of accepted to live with. We know there are different interventions which are planned. There are those which have been planned in the past and have failed. But we as road users, we as citizens, we can protect ourselves at the bare minimum. Use helmets. Use helmets. Passengers especially are the biggest. The motorcyclists have appreciated this challenge, most of them. The compliance rates, I understand, are around 80% or 90%. But the passengers, this is what I'm saying. The motorcyclists are protecting themselves. But passengers on motorcycles are just going in, what I would say, they are just going live without a helmet. So that's my final tip on for the average motorist in Kampala.
All right, now one of the things we do on Revved Up for you every week is to try and help those, our beautiful viewers out there. Just in case you want to buy yourself a car, it's your first car, or you want to change the car, what we do is try and get you into options, show you the different cars and the different bonds and how much they cost. You cannot have the Kayoola bus yet, because the production is still going on, but maybe in the future you can find one of these buses somewhere for your own consumption here in town. But what we're doing this week is to show you the very best of the cars available in the bonds. This is best in the bonds.
With the ever-growing amount of transport and technology in the world today, it's important that we spare a moment to think about the environment and appreciate the measures that some companies take to keep our city a little more pollution-free. The Kayoola bus, manufactured by Kira Motors in Uganda, is unique and in a class of its own because it is the first ever solar-powered means of public transportation.
All right, so this week we are back to celebrating Uganda. We are back to that moment when we talk about what is made in Uganda, that very big proud moment here on Revved Up. And we are back with Kira Motors. This week we are talking about the Kayoola bus. Now I'll tell you something, The Kayoola bus has been talked about everywhere. I saw it on television, I've heard about it on radio, the newspapers, but no one has really given you the details, and that's what Revved Up is pretty much all about. And I'm always joined by the experts. Now, one of the experts who joins me today is James Biansi, who of course is the customer experience expert.
Yes, Andrew.
How are you doing?
I'm quite fine.
Welcome to set again.
Good to be here.
What does that title mean? Customer experience expert. What do you do?
What I do is basically to translate the customer's needs to the engineers so that as they design, they spec exactly what the customer needs.
But let's talk about the general feeling now within Kira. You have these 3 cars out. I'm sure you have plans for the future, which you cannot talk about right now. But what's the feeling like inside Kira? Do you guys feel progressive? Do you feel there's a couple of bureaucratic probably issues with government or within your own company that could be holding you back? Because those of us who love cars cannot stand something like that.
Well, I must say we're at a point where it's really exciting. First of all, to be in Kira. We're taking on the right skill and talent. And then the environment we're operating within, that's you look at government and the economy itself, it's a good time to be in Kira, I must say.
I've just been looking at some of the statistics. This is 150 kilowatts in terms of its horsepower.
Yes.
A normal bus would be about 200.
Yes.
But let's talk about the torque. What's the difference? Because if I'm getting a big machine, I'm looking at horsepower and torque for starters.
Well, for starters, this bus has a torque of 400 Newton meters. Your average other bus out there will have a torque of about 900. Now, for a proof of concept, of course, we are not going to take this onto rugged terrain or anything like that. Our target was to show the world that it's achievable. In the event that we are going into mass production, of course, we would spec it to accommodate a torque that's relevant to the terrain it's going to take on. So in terms of a prototype that we have produced, I think we are there. We would have to spec it higher if it's needed within the mass production.
Last time we had Kira Motors, we had this Mark.
Yes.
Of course, it's a sedan. But in terms of general operation, the general mechanical setup, what's the difference between this and the Smart?
Well, the general difference between the Kayoola and the Smart is that the Smart is a hybrid. That means it on top of the plug-in electric drive, it has a generator, an onboard generator that would be engine, which still charges the battery bank. Now, the difference is the Kayoola is purely electric. It has a 75 kilowatt hour battery bank, which gives you a range of about 80 kilometers, yes. Which gives you a range of about 85 kilometers on the road. So if you're plowing the most common routes within Kampala, you're looking at about 9 routes before you have to charge again. Now, the beauty with it is that on top of that, you have a range extender, which is the solar. It extends the range by 12 kilometers in real time. As you move, it charges. It has an automatic switching mechanism where it will charge one battery bank as it's drawing power from the other. Yes.
I have 2 final questions for you, and this next question means a lot to me and the country, and you know what has been said by the president, by the ministers. The Kayoola bus has 60% local content. Now that's a very big thing. 60% local content. Is it a plan? Is it something you guys have planned and say we are going to have this much local content at the moment?
When you look at the bus itself, I would say the only thing that was maybe brought in and integrated locally is powertrain components. Things like the motor, the transmission, because we have not yet built capacity to produce that locally, or even the tires, because in our mandate we're not just looking at making tires. Someone out there will come and do that and supply it to us. But the idea is you start with the body itself. This entire body is built in Uganda. These sheets are actually from a local supplier. The body panels. When you look at the seats, they are designed and built locally. So when we talk about transforming people's lives, you are empowering them to have something they can bring on board within the automotive industry. When you look at the integration, the programming, it's all done locally. Our local engineers have done all that. So when we shoot to 60%, of course the target is 90%. Eventually when we go into mass production, we want to build capacity to be able to have 90% local content. Yes.
As this show is airing on NTV, this bus is in Kenya.
Yes.
This is actually the last shoot you guys are having. We're so lucky to have the first shoot with the Kayoola, the last shoot with the Kayoola bus before you guys go to Kenya. What are you guys going to do? What are you guys doing in Kenya?
Well, come 23rd to 27th of May.
That is tonight.
That's as you air, it's happening. The bus is going to be the lead exhibitor in green mobility at the Sustainable Innovation Expo in Nairobi. Now, this is a forum where you have top delegates and environmental ministers coming in from around the world to discuss issues pertaining to the environment.
Yeah.
And the Kayoola solar bus was identified within the region as an innovation that's relevant to that cause. So Ban Ki-moon himself, the UN Secretary General, will have a ride on this bus. So we are looking at such recognition, inspiring confidence in us that the agenda we've set out on is the right path to take.
Okay. So Ban Ki-moon is going to ride on this bus. The president of Uganda has been on this bus. Guess who is next? Guess who is next to ride on this bus? Thank you very much. Guess who is next to ride on this bus, ladies and gentlemen? It's me now.
Inside, the seats are beautifully handcrafted and covered in beige leather to complete the clean and simple aesthetic look, which was inspired by a waterfall. They offer perfect support and stability, but are comfortable and modern as well, bringing a whole new atmosphere of class to public transportation.
All right, now one of, like I said before, one of the more beautiful things about the Kayoola bus and having locally made cars in the country is the other industries in the country do get to benefit as well. We've been talking about it, 60% local content. If you get into the car, you realize all their seats, first of all, very well finished, very well finished. It's leather, and this type of material is very easy to clean. Most of the folks will tell you that as well. If you look at the finishing on its steering wheel, it's leather as well. And now this only means one thing though, to Uganda's economy. It means that Uganda's leather industry and everyone else who works within the leather industry or connected to the leather industry will now get to benefit. Because just imagine for 1 second, if we got to have the industry up and running and then there were 400 or 500 of these to be produced, what would that mean to the leather industry in this country? So Kira Motors, good stuff.
An electric motor fueled by lithium-ion batteries powers the 35-seater bus and has a range of up to 80 kilometers on a single charge. The roof displays the solar panels which charge the batteries, and because there's no fuel combustion, as in a conventional engine, it has a much smoother ride. It's inspiring to see Uganda starting to make environmental progress regarding public transportation. And hopefully, Kira Motors' Kayoola solar bus is just the beginning. They have cleverly designed their bus in such a way that it is visually appealing and more luxurious than the fuel-powered alternatives, so that the switch to a more environmentally friendly vehicle benefits everyone involved.
All right, thank you very much, guys, for joining us this week as I enjoy the comfort of the Kayoola bus. Hope you guys have loved it as Uganda moves closer and closer to having its own cars. Definitely will be a very big and very proud moment as well. We want to thank our sponsors, Shell, Helix, and UAP, who make sure the show is running as smooth as it gets. Now, as we end the show, we're going to have a ride. See you guys next week.
Next week on Revved Up.